Some dreams begin with a simple question, what if? And then there are dreams that linger for centuries, simmering like lava beneath the Earth's crust, waiting for the right moment to erupt. In an age where humanity is reaching for the stars, debating AI, quantum chips, and humanoid robots, in a small, often overlooked country in Central America, Nicaragua, a different kind of dream is taking shape. The dream of building a canal. A canal so vast it could reshape the global trade map. A canal that, if successful, could challenge the dominance of the Panama Canal and rewrite the logistics order the world has known for over a century. But this is not a recent crazy idea. It is a centuries-old dream that has been repeatedly thwarted by geopolitics and nature. This is the story of the Nicaragua Canal, a potential rival to the Panama Canal. And now, after centuries of waiting, that dream is being revived, not by Nicaragua itself, but by a rising power, an emerging superpower expanding its influence one bridge, one road, and one intercontinental canal at a time. Who is this superpower? And if the project becomes reality, will the geopolitical map of the world ever be the same? Let's uncover the truth in this video with Top 10 Discoveries Official. More than 100 years ago, before mobile phones, before the internet, before man had even reached space, people already dreamed of linking the two oceans with a canal. Panama Canal? Yes, but it wasn't the first choice. From the very beginning, all eyes were on Nicaragua. Why was Nicaragua considered such a strong candidate? Just look at the map and you'll see a natural advantage. Lake Nicaragua, one of the largest freshwater lakes in Central America. The idea was to use the lake as part of the waterway, reducing the volume of land that needed to be excavated. A natural highway that could cut down the amount of earth to be dug and save billions in costs. In fact, in the early 20th century, the US Senate almost chose Nicaragua as the site for the canal. But then, everything changed because of one small detail, a postage stamp. Just one stamp, depicting a smoking volcano, changed history. In 1902, a French engineer named Philippe Bunau Varilla sent 500 Nicaraguan postage stamps to the US Senate, each featuring the erupting Momotombo volcano. He included a note calling it a witness to active volcanic activity in the Nicaraguan isthmus, emphasizing the geological risk. This happened shortly after the devastating eruption of Mount Pelée in Martinique on May 8, 1902, which killed over 30,000 people, heightening fears of volcanoes among US policymakers. The message was clear: Nicaragua is unsafe. Volcanoes, earthquakes, natural disaster risks. These images had a powerful effect on the US Senate. Fears over geological instability overshadowed Nicaragua's natural advantages. And so, by just a few votes, Panama was chosen. The US signed the treaty, the Panama Canal was launched. Nicaragua silently watched its dream slip away. More than a century passed, witnessing Panama becoming a global logistics hub, while Nicaragua's dream remained just that, a dream, a profound regret over a missed opportunity. But that dream never truly died, and in November 2024, the Nicaraguan government unveiled a bold plan to revive the Nicaragua Canal Project. This isn't their first attempt. However, this time, the plan appears to be more ambitious than ever. The proposed new canal would stretch up to 445 kilometers in length, compared to the Panama Canal's current length of only about 82 kilometers, making it 5.4 times longer. The Nicaragua Canal would begin in Bluefields on the Caribbean coast, pass through Lake Nicaragua, also known as Lake Cochibolca, with the indigenous name Xolotlan, also sometimes used, and end at Puerto Corinto on the Pacific coast. What stands out most is the size. The new project is designed with an impressive depth of approximately 27 meters, and the width of the canal would range from 290 to 540 meters. For context, the Panama Canal, even after its expansion in 2016, is only about 18.3 meters deep and around 55 meters wide at its narrowest parts. What does this mean? If completed, the Nicaragua Canal would be capable of accommodating the world's largest ships, ultra-large container vessels, and massive oil tankers. When comparing these two projects side by side, it's clear. The Nicaragua Canal is engineered to handle ships that the Panama Canal simply cannot. Its superior depth and width would allow the passage of mega container ships and enormous oil tankers, something currently impossible for Panama. In addition, the Panama Canal is now facing a critical problem: water shortage. Panama's lock system depends on rainfall to maintain water levels in Lake Gatun and Lake Alajuela. Prolonged droughts have forced Panama to limit the number of ships passing through the canal each day, disrupting global supply chains and raising transportation costs. Nicaragua, with its vast Lake Nicaragua, could potentially have an edge when it comes to water resources, further strengthening its competitive position. A large-scale project like the Nicaragua Canal isn't just about cement and steel. It's also about people and the environment. The project promises to generate hundreds of thousands of jobs during construction and operation, providing economic opportunities and employment for locals. The construction phase alone is expected to employ around 50,000 workers, with 25% coming from China and the rest from Nicaragua and other nations. The project is also projected to boost Nicaragua's GDP by 9 to 10% annually upon completion. This growth rate is quite high, especially when compared to other emerging economies like Vietnam or India, which average 6 to 7% annually. If it's true, Nicaragua's GDP could nearly double in just 7 to 8 years, potentially lifting it from one of the poorest nations in Latin America to one of the most developed in Central America. In a presentation to Chinese investors at the 17th China-Latin America and Caribbean Business Summit in Managua, Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega stated, "Each day passing through Panama becomes more complicated," and emphasized that the Nicaragua Canal Project has reached a golden window for execution. Given the scale and scope of this project, the costs are undoubtedly proportional. The total estimated cost for this project is $64.5 billion. So who will invest tens of billions of dollars into this colossal endeavor? Undoubtedly, the Nicaragua Canal Project cannot be separated from China's pivotal role. In fact, the ambition to construct a trans-Central American waterway has been nurtured by China for over a decade. In 2013, Chinese businessman Wang Jing and the HKND Group signed an agreement with the Nicaraguan government to build and operate the Nicaragua Canal for 50 years, with the possibility of extending it for another 50 years. However, the project faced numerous challenges. In 2015, the Chinese stock market crisis severely reduced Wang Jing's personal wealth, impacting the project's financial viability. By 2018, HKND closed its offices and ceased operations, causing the project to stall. Despite this, China has continued to show interest in constructing a strategic waterway through Central America. Participation in projects like the Nicaragua Canal not only offers economic benefits but also aids China in expanding its geopolitical influence in the region. Currently, with the Nicaraguan government's revival of the canal project, the question arises: will China continue to invest in and support this endeavor? China's ambition for this project may still be significant, manifested in several aspects. Firstly, constructing a canal capable of accommodating super heavy ships up to 250,000 tons, something the current Panama Canal cannot handle, would meet the growing global maritime transport demand, especially between Asia, where China is a central manufacturing and export hub, and the Gulf of Mexico, as well as the northeastern United States. This would strengthen China's strategic position in international trade. A new waterway backed by China or Chinese investors could reinforce supply chains and reduce dependence on the Panama Canal, which is heavily influenced by the United States. Secondly, from a geopolitical standpoint, the involvement of major Chinese companies and capital in a significant infrastructure project in Central America can be seen as part of Beijing's efforts to expand its global influence. Investing in a project with high symbolic and strategic value like the canal can help China enhance relations with Nicaragua and establish a substantial economic and political presence in a region traditionally considered the backyard of the United States. This aligns with China's broader Belt and Road Initiative, even though this project was initiated before BRI became a central foreign policy focus. Previously, China has invested in and constructed major ports, railways, and infrastructure projects worldwide, from the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, the Piraeus port in Greece, to the Gwadar port in Pakistan. These are examples of China's influence-building strategy, often accompanied by large loans and long-term control or management rights. Therefore, with a lucrative opportunity like Nicaragua, it's unlikely that China would pass it up. However, this raises questions. Is the world witnessing a new race for influence? A race not fought with armies or missiles, but with cement and concrete? If the Nicaragua Canal becomes a reality with China's support, it would significantly alter the geopolitical balance in the region. In the 20th century, international power was measured by the number of weapons and military strength. But in the 21st century, soft power seems to be redefined by the ability to build infrastructure, connect trade routes, and establish influence through economic development. The United States, with its long history of controlling the Panama Canal and traditional influence in Central America, would undoubtedly be concerned. A Nicaragua Canal backed by China could weaken U.S. influence in the region, especially in maritime transport. It could also expand China's maritime control, creating a new trade route less dependent on existing routes heavily influenced by the U.S. This is not just an economic advantage, but also a strategic card. No need for military bases, just a mega project, and the world would have to adjust its trade routes accordingly. In the context of the U.S. increasing tariffs and economic defense measures against Chinese goods, the question arises, is China responding, not with pressure, but by creating new options for the world? And the story doesn't end with the U.S. and China. Other countries like Russia and investors from the Middle East might also seek opportunities to participate, turning this project into an even more complex geopolitical game. This isn't just about logistics, it's about status, controlling global trade flows, and determining who will shape the region's future. If the Nicaragua Canal becomes a reality, it will be a game changer on the global geopolitical map. For the U.S., this poses a potential challenge to its traditional influence in the region. China's presence in such a significant infrastructure project near the U.S., its backyard, could be seen as a strategic threat. It might affect the U.S.'s ability to control vital maritime routes and impact the regional power balance. For Panama, a country that has relied on its canal for over a century, the emergence of a direct competitor capable of accommodating larger ships and potentially resolving water scarcity issues is a significant concern. Panama will need to strive to maintain its central role in global trade. For China, this is part of a long-term strategy to expand global influence, especially in trade and logistics. By investing in major infrastructure projects like the canal, China is buying position and securing crucial trade routes for its growing economy. It represents a new approach to soft power, using economics to achieve geopolitical goals. And for Nicaragua, this is a high-stakes gamble, a bold attempt to escape poverty through logistics, leveraging its strategic geographic location to create wealth and opportunity. If successful, it could transform Nicaragua into a key global transportation hub. So what happens next? Will the Nicaragua Canal Project overcome the massive financial, technical, environmental, and geopolitical challenges ahead? Will it become a reality and rival the Panama Canal? Or will it remain just another chapter in the long and complex history of grand ambitions and painful failures? This project raises a deeper question about the world we live in. In an era of artificial intelligence, cutting-edge technology, and rapid advancement, what happens if you're a small country with no AI, no satellites, no modern weapons? What do you do to earn your place on the world map? Perhaps you do what Nicaragua is trying to do. You dig a canal, a colossal canal. You bet on your geography, on the world's need for new trade routes. And you hope that this time, the world will pass through you rather than pass you by once again. Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the Nicaragua Canal has a chance of succeeding? How might it change the global landscape? And is this a lesson in the power of geopolitics or in the importance of bold dreams, even in the age of AI? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next videos from Top 10 Discoveries Official. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next exploration.